Welcome to Your Place Next Door's podcast, the mental health awareness platform for everyone, where we educate you through the normal aspects of living, life, and all of that stuff. My name is Shareef, and this is Jeffrey. Welcome.
Welcome to Your Place Next Door.
Yes. So today we're going to cover a few things about us. This is the introduction. It's the third time lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a few times. It's been a long while in the making as well.
Mm-hmm.
We've been working, quite hard. Obviously, this is something that we do secondary to what we do in our lives. But it's something that we're passionate about. It's something that we want to really, get going and stuff like that. So, my name is Shareef, like I said. I'm one of the founders. I'm a businessman by day. I have a few companies and stuff like that. It's what I really enjoy. And I have had my own share of mental health issues, in the years and stuff like that. So, this is very near and dear to my heart. And we just want to bring you education through entertainment, essentially, I just want to shout out to Miran. He's not here. He's also one of the founders. And then Jeffrey, just tell him a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so thank you for the introduction, Shareef. My name is Jeffrey Bowie. I'm currently a college student as well as a small business owner for one of my brands, Bureku. It's essentially a clothing line / apparel shop for like car guys, car enthusiasts, stuff like that. But like Shareef said, we've been working on this project for quite a while now, and this is like our third time refilming the intro. But we just want to give you guys the best content and the best production as much as possible. But essentially, we try to just make y'all feel like y'all are at home and y'all have a safe place to like just listen to what our experiences are and whatnot. We're by no means any professionals. We don't claim to be any professionals. And we try to get guests onto the show to better speak about their experiences as well as what they did. And you can take it to your own knowledge and see whether or not you want to apply it to yourself.
That's the thing. Like, we're just going off of like real life situations,
Yeah, so you can essentially relate to it.
Yeah, it's nothing like too formal, It's just, we're just a couple guys, talking to people.
And bringing awareness.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's the goal. And again, Miran. So myself and Jeffrey and Miran were the founders of this charity. And, we are using entertainment to outreach people. So,
essentially, yes.
Yeah. So, so like we discussed. On the other podcast, we discussed the statistics and how a lot of people do suffer with mental illness and stuff like that. And I think what we really want to learn about is like the causes. The causes, the cures, the maintenance, the like all of that kind of stuff. So with getting people on and stuff like that, I think it's good to just extract real life stories, because it's not easy to talk about. I remember a couple of years ago when I was dealing with it, it would be just lock yourself away from it.
Yeah, definitely. And essentially it's like right now we are like located in Houston. That's our base platform. But essentially we want to do like a national wide coverage once we get to that point. Right now, we also have, like we said, Miran, part of the channel, and he's based in Washington State, correct?
Maryland.
Maryland.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We got that wrong last time.
Yeah. So he's in Maryland, and he's going to do his parts over there. But essentially, it's just we want y'all to, like, have something to relate to. Essentially, just make it feel more natural than having y'all to read an article about mental health awareness. We just want people to know you're not alone, and there's other options for you to go through.
Yeah. So, before we dive into a few things, the website will be launched. We have the Instagram page. A follow goes a long way. A subscribe goes a long way. Like, it goes a long way. Comment what you think. We put a lot into this. In terms of equipment wise, time wise. we're really trying to do this. So, a small bit of support will go a long way. We'll be setting up, I think, a Patreon.
Pretty soon,
Yeah,
hopefully.
to get some donations. And hopefully with Jeff's merch company, he'd be able to
Sponsor the show.
get
eventually.
us some merch, man.
Hell yeah.
Make us some merch so we can sell some merch.
Yeah, I'll look into it and start producing merch for
No, because
the program as well.
I saw a T-shirt the other day and it just said "Mental Health Matters" and it's like so simple, but it's
yeah.
cool thing. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And people can show their support and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the whole app that we got, I think
Just having developed and stuff.
Yeah, and then the whole NFT thing. We get into the space, but so.
And we have other goals in mind too, hosting like live events to meet up with y'all, or just having like little events so we can just have a community gathering. And if you guys are interested in that as well, just feel free to contact out to us and let us know what you guys want to see next. But essentially from this point forward, this next few podcast episodes are just going to be just a few guest speakers, some with credibility, some with just personal experiences on their everyday life and like things they love to do. We just want to show y'all different routes, different exposures to what
humanize the whole situation,
and what people are what people are doing in their lives. And it's okay to not be successful. It's okay to make mistakes, but we all learn from it. We all grow from it. And essentially, at the end of the day, the most important investment is your health.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, well, let's just talk between me and you for a minute. All right. So, how's your mental health?
Yeah. Essentially, I feel like I'm at a state where I'm content. I wouldn't say I'm fully happy. Yeah, there's sometimes like I get stressed and I feel down and stuff, but it's only natural.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we are humans and we all have feelings.
Yeah.
And like being a college student, there's a lot of pressure when it comes to like just trying to fulfill the classes, trying to like have like maintain a well enough schedule. And both of us are like fairly busy all the time, and it can essentially take a toll on us.
Definitely.
And it's just how you deal with the stress and how you go about your day really influences how you are throughout the week as well, like just your mindset in general. But overall, I feel like I'm at a stable position despite like having a hectic schedule and despite having a lot of stress from school work and just
I think sometimes being busy is good because
because
when you're not busy you got more time to think.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like mental issues are mental, so if you're thinking
sometimes it's good to have like a little breather for you to just reflect on things you've done and see if that pathway is really the one you really want to continue, or if it's really worth it. But all I have to say is just don't let the ambition die. Just don't forget about your goals. Don't forget about your dreams. And like, I know everyone has their own time. Some people might be successful earlier than others, but
late bloomers.
Yeah. It's just everything is set towards a time for a reason. Yeah. It's because it takes time for people to mature. It takes time for people to master a skill, and people don't master skills overnight. There are some cases where people are lucky enough, unfortunate enough to find a formula earlier on, but that doesn't mean they are fully like matured in that sense.
100%.
Yeah. What about you, Shareef? How is your mental health?
Yeah, so it's pretty good. I'm in a good place right now. I like we said, we're kind of busy, and then you do have your ups and downs. But it's
definitely.
Like, if you do take time to reflect and understand that you do need maintenance as a humans, like you do need mental maintenance and things like,
as well as physical maintenance.
Like switch off sometimes, take a break. This is the thing. Like earlier this year, New Year's, I was like, the motto for this year is work hard, rest well. Like play hard, all of that, but no, rest well is key.
It's key.
And owning a business, it can get grueling. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's not easy. So it's like you're constantly, I don't want to say expecting, but you're on edge waiting for something to happen. Yeah.
And you're always constantly reaching for that fulfillment, and you feel like you're not getting it fast enough.
Yeah, and that's another thing. It's like,
Patience.
exactly the
Mm-hmm.
word. It's like, okay, I need to get to this goal. And it's just like you're constantly waiting for that. But it's like,
Yeah, but
instead,
how much do you have to pay off, especially your mental health and your physical health?
yeah, and it's like, you don't focus on what needs to be taken care of now as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to like, oh, I need to get to the goal. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. Like I
Either,
personally,
you're going.
yeah, I personally have like experienced like deteriorating myself physically,
Yeah.
like not sleeping for days just so I can like reach a certain goal or do a certain like project.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like once you crash, does it really matter at like what all of this goes? Because people really take their health for granted until like something really happens, and
Yep.
that's when they want to change, but it's essentially too late.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I've been through that a couple of times where it's like you're working at like 110% non-stop, and then you burn out, and then it's like you crash.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you just maintained it, you could
Yeah.
probably do like 70% and do
Yeah.
a good job and keep
Yeah,
going.
and
Keep
then
going,
there's
you know what
some
I mean?
days where you have your up days and some days where you have like your down days. You can't just expect every day to be a good day, a great day.
Yeah, and it's like it's all about how you look after yourself. Because
Yeah, definitely.
because like bro, for the longest, like I would just eat anything, drink anything, and not like focus on what that will do to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like it's weird, yeah, because I'm on a strict diet right now, so I fast like 18 hours every day, and it's good, and it's good for mental and physical health, but like obviously not today, it's Sunday right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm fasting today, but usually before I would have a Sunday as my cheat day.
Yeah, yeah.
And bro, cakes, like cookies, donuts, all of that all day. Do you know what I mean? Pizzas, all of that, and bro, like by 3 p.m. or whatever, I'm feeling terrible.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just feeling
I get
terrible.
you. Like,
And it's like, you obviously get kind of sugar rush that day, and then when you come crashing down, it's just like, man, I don't feel so good. Like, now it's just water and it's clean food. Like, yeah, I do indulge in the odd bite here, and I don't have a cheat day anymore. I have a cheat meal.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like on one meal I can indulge, but it won't mess up the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it does. It's like, even with me, I'm very sensitive to caffeine. And yesterday I had a coffee, and bro, it just spikes my anxiety. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I know it does that to me. But it's just like I was really in the mood for a coffee, so it's like, okay, let me get one. And after like 20 minutes, I was like, oh, this was a bad idea, And it was the same. I used to smoke weed, and everyone says, oh, it calms you down, blah blah, whatever. For me, it did in the early days, at the start, and it was ongoing for a good few years. Where it first of all turned into, a social event. Oh, we're gonna meet up, we're gonna smoke,
yeah.
and then it turned into, oh yeah, let's get something today, and then every day. And then towards the end of my marijuana career, bro, was having the reverse effects on me. And I would smoke, and I would just get so like anxious, like it would spike, and then it got to a point where I had thought about quitting it for a while. And it's like, when you are addicted to it, it's addictive. When I was addicted to it, it would be like, if I don't have it that night,
you can't sleep.
Yeah. You don't sleep. You have a rough night. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I would never smoke throughout the day. It was just like a thing, Obviously, take care of work and stuff throughout the day, and then evening time you clock off, and then you start smoking. Do you know what I mean? But it was like the whole focus for the evening. It was just like, yeah,
I have to, or I can't perform this next task.
Yeah, exactly. And it was crazy.
And that can translate to anything, like essentially, like even like people who are workaholics or people who are just addicted to work. If they don't work, there's some days where they have a day to like relax. They just don't know what to do with it.
Bro, that's me. Like,
that's me too. Yeah. Like literally yesterday, like
full of boredom. It's just like,
you're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
What can I do?
Yeah.
And you're trying to find something to do, and in reality, you're just making yourself even more stressed.
Exactly. And there was I saw a post the other day, and it was like, wow, what was the word he used? It was like, it's not. He didn't say fictional, but he. Oh, I don't know what he said, but it was like almost like you
a fantasy.
No. He was trying to say how when in situations that you don't need to be stressed, you force yourself.
You force yourself to be stressed.
Yeah, and it's like what you're saying. That it's just like, even myself when I'm not doing anything, like I love movies and I love just sitting on not mind-numbing TV, you know. And I know it's not good, but it's like I know compared to the work I put in, it's fine.
Yeah, but essentially everything is better in moderation.
Exactly.
Like, it kind of we kind of sound like we're contradicting what we said earlier, like how we need to take a break and whatnot. But like everything, like anything mentioned, it's great to have everything in moderation, and you don't get too reliant or too, I guess, dependent on it, essentially, in a way, because that's when once you head onto it, like a certain path, it's harder for you to change that habits.
Exactly.
Because it takes like a person 21 days or 21 repeats of the same like actions.
It's like training almost.
Yeah, essentially. And that's essentially what you're doing to yourself. You're just training yourself into becoming something that potentially can harm you. Yeah.
And it's like we're so used to being in front of a screen or constantly having something feeding us. Yeah. And it was like, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was telling my wife, I was like, there's these cabins out in I think it's like between Austin and Houston.
Oh yeah.
There's like
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's like a getaway
low like campsite.
Yeah. And they have cabins and stuff like that. And I was like,
no Wi-Fi, no nothing.
Yeah, I was like, we should go over there, just lock our phones in the cabin and just spend 2 3 days over there. You know,
just to, like, have a mental refresh.
Yeah, and it was like, you know, with the new contracts and stuff coming in, it got hard to
plan it
allocate
out.
that time. Yeah. And but there was someone else that was saying that I don't think it was Jay Shetty, I'm not sure, but whoever it was, they basically said that George St. Pierre, the UFC fighter, George St. Pierre, he said on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he basically was saying that he went to something similar to like some getaway campsite sort of thing, and he switched off for a couple of days, but in the first day it was like so hard, like, man, what?
Because
do you know what I mean? It's
essentially you're going through withdrawal, and like
you're used to
your brain is like so used to it to the point where you don't have it, you just feel anxious. And
we're not used to doing nothing.
Essentially. And segueing into like social media, it's like how you mentioned a few weeks ago where you read an article like how just having a refresh of the screen, it's like having the same effect as you playing slots and gambling.
Predicting some kind of outcome, you know, like your brain is like, yo, what's next sort of thing. And that's the thing, man. It's like we're so constantly fed information that when it comes to doing nothing, and this is the thing, like what I was trying to explain in the last podcast is, when I think about stuff, bro, I'm kind of weird, right? Even when it comes to stuff like shampoo and stuff like that, it's all like, for me, I just think of it as chemicals. And I think of stuff as when I think about something, I always ask myself like, well, how would a caveman doing it? Do you know what I mean? And it was like, that's the simple times. Like, we're so advanced stuff like that now. And I do use shampoo. I do use shampoo. Not a lot. Do you know what I mean?
We get so reliant towards technology nowadays. Like, it's just an extension to our body, and that's not essentially something really good. Because I personally feel like I've been getting too reliant. Like, something as simple as spelling, I barely even put effort into nowadays. I just use my phone or use Google or something to figure out how to spell words. Back then it's like sound it out, you know, try to do something. Same with math nowadays. It's just like you have a calculator, you don't even use like your actual like skills and stuff anymore. And like right now I'm taking a class like since I'm in the STEM major, I'm trying to become a PA. And I'm in this organic chemistry class, and like I'm gonna admit, in the past few semesters, I've just been winging it, hoping for the best. But like, it's been working out for me. But when I stepped foot into organic chemistry, I was like, this is not it. I can't wing it. I actually have to put an effort in this, and this is like a first time in a while where I actually have to sit down and like actually think. And I'm finding myself to be lazy, and like it's hard to like really put an effort to study like I used to, because I'm so reliant to like the Google giving me all the answers and whatnot. And not saying I cheat or anything on my exams or like it's just you know it's just a great tool to have, but essentially we can abuse that power and just forget our everyday life skills and stuff like that.
There's one thing I was trying to figure out recently, not recently, but it's been like in recent times, where I've been trying to test my focus, and I read somewhere you should look at a clock, and watch it for 5 minutes
and see if you can like.
And it's so hard.
Yeah,
it's so hard. Like I managed 2 minutes without like starting to like need to get away from it. And it's like that can improve your focus. It's almost like an exercise. And like I've said it before, meditation.
And it's also a great way to wind down as well, to slow down your brain, because our brains are constantly moving at such a fast pace nowadays, especially in the 21st century, with like how everything is just advancing and how everything's just constantly moving and moving and moving.
Yeah.
We don't really get a time to like
stillness.
Yeah,
there's none of it.
Relax.
Yeah, man, it's like. This is the thing. It's just like it's been a gradual thing. So it's like, you know, when phones came out, we didn't have the iPhone.
Yeah. Back then it was like I remember like a brick with like an actual touchpad and stuff, and there wasn't such a thing where you can search the web with your phone. It was just a phone was just meant to call. Yeah. You were like really luxurious if you had a camera on your phone and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's just as time progressed, it became
a supercomputer in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it's never been a big jump, so it's not like people are like, oh, what's that? It's the gradual
acceptance,
ease your way into it. You know what I mean? Everyone's getting eased
at
into
first
it.
People were really skeptical about like having a touchscreen phone as well.
Yeah,
and that comes for anything. Like even with not trying to get political or anything, but like even with medication nowadays, a lot of people like are very hesitant towards a certain like research because they don't know if like
I'm one of them. I'm very like, I'm not going to say I'm against them, because I mean it works for some things, you know what I mean, but it's a for-profit business at the end of the day. And I have a strong belief that when you take a certain medication, it almost always leads to more problems later down. Like you'll take care of one problem and it will just open up doors for new stuff. And I hate it, man, because like my doctor prescribed me some medication and it's like over the last 3 days I'm thinking to myself, don't let the tablets fix it. Go and fix it yourself, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, you smoke, you don't work out very well, you don't eat very well, so make those changes. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, cool. And bro, I've lost like 10 pounds in 2 weeks, you know, and the diet and the
fasting,
that's all working very well, and the working out and stuff like that's working well. You know, the cigarettes needs to be kept, and I'm reading a book right now that's got a very high pass rate of quitting effectiveness, and hopefully I can put that to a side and it's take it into my own hands.
It also depends on who you surround yourself with as well. Speaking from personal experience, like I've been surrounded by a crowd where they weren't really so motivative and supportive of like what I used to do before, and I found myself at a point in time where I was mentally exhausted trying to keep up to their standards all the time. But after I changed my surrounding, after I changed the friends I've met, recently I've strived to be better because like they are supportive of what I'm doing. One, like I'm so thankful for them. I'm so thankful I met you, I'm Miran, and like a bunch of them, and they mentally helped me get through that time period of feeling insecure and anxious, and they're supporting like every goals and decision I make. And just them being motivated themselves and having their own accomplishments and stuff motivates me to become a better person instead of having to fulfill like a certain standard that like the group I used to hang out with. And essentially it's just like if you hang out with a crowd that's always down all the time and always constantly being pessimistic, it
rubs off.
You'll just continue being pessimistic. But if you surround yourself with like people who are motivated, people who are doing things, essentially you yourself will become those leaders as well.
Exactly, yeah. And it's like the saying is if you hang around 4 millionaires, you'll be the fifth. Do you know what I mean?
I heard this one quote from my teacher before. I'm not sure who originally said it, but I stand by it. I stand by it every single day. It's a great leader don't create followers. They'll create more leaders.
More leaders, yeah.
And like I constantly like seek out leaders, and I try to be an example for other like individuals as well. I'm not the type of person who like if someone asks me a question, I'm just gonna like shove them off and like just let them figure it out themselves. I'll try to walk them through it, help them out as much as I can, and if they accept it or not, that's like literally their decision.
Yeah, and that's going back to the, you know, the kind of people you are around.
Yeah.
It's like becoming a product of your environment, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially.
And it's like, this is the thing. That podcast I did with the Javon Wooden. He was saying it's like, you know, when you're in it, you can't see that you're in it because you're too close to it. Do you know what I mean? And that was
And sometimes it's great to have like a third perspective on it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people tend to like not believe it at first because it's this. Everyone has like their own sense of entitlement, their own sense of pride, and they feel like a third person's view or opinion might not be the best sometimes. But in reality, they might be like telling you the truth. That's why you should like take everything into consideration, good or bad, because essentially you don't know like until one day you see it from a different perspective of what you are doing.
It's like, you know, when some people are brought up in a certain area, it's like a box, isn't it? And it's like, you know, they know that only, you know, and it was like, they don't know that that's not all, because some people will think, oh yeah, I brought up in a hood, I can't get out, you know, I'm made to stay here. Do you know what
Versus I mean? the kid who's like, I'm in the hood, I gotta change this.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of it. I gotta find a way to become better.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's definitely hard. Like personally coming from like a low income family and stuff, it was hard. I am fortunate enough to like be comfortable enough now, but it was definitely hard like trying to get out of that mindset.
Yeah, 100%.
Because especially with like surrounding yourselves with others who have a similar mindset, who's like, we're never going to get
Scarcity mindset.
Yeah. So
I was the same, man. I brought up in, you know, lower income, stuff like that, like damn near poverty. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, you know,
it's hard.
It's what you make of it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but you definitely can get through it if you change your mindset.
I'll tell you one thing right now. Yeah, when I was 15, I wanted to make music, and my first microphone that I got basically stole it. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like a USB condenser microphone, this and that. And I remember I took my little brother and we stole it. And, you know, those times I'll probably have maximum like 20, 30 pounds to my name. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, looking back, I was 15, man. It's just like, what do you know? You don't know. You don't know anything.
Yeah.
But it was just like, you know, it was tough those times, and I remember. But, you know, it's just as time progresses, like, I know some other people are still in like those kind of situations.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's like, you know, I made a huge change in my life. I live in a different continent. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, I broke away from those kind of areas and stuff like that. And honestly, I was blessed because when I came here, I had family here that were in a better position.
Yeah.
And they showed me some things, you know, and they didn't give me nothing. They just basically provided me a job and a roof. And we're like, go do your thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like essentially everyone will have their moment, their oh shit moment. They're like, wow, okay, this is where I have to change. Yeah,
but see, for me, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was an oh shit moment. I would say it was more of a, it's just the gradual pace towards better things, because I've always been like, I don't want to say I was like an entrepreneur, like a young one. Do you know what I mean? Because I always feel like I'm a late bloomer because growing up, my parents were so protective of us that.
Oh yeah, I can relate so much, especially coming from like an Asian or like Middle Eastern background. Our parents tend to be like shadowing us all the time and trying to like protect us from.
We don't think at the time that they're, you know, basically shielding us or protecting us.
But then once we step into the real world, we're like, Okay, I see why.
Yeah, because even though like, my childhood was so up and down. Like we had it at one point, and then it went away, and it went away with such force. It was almost overnight from a 7-bedroom house to a homeless hostel. It was like at that switch,
Yeah.
and it was at the age where I was like kind of 13, 12 or 13 years old.
Still figuring out life. Still
Yeah, and
to
it was
develop.
like the thing is that at that point it's like when you're young you're a sponge. So
Yeah.
it's like you go from a place of not having to
worry about anything to like trying to survive.
Yeah, it's like it's a different story now, and it's like you've never had to come up with that gritty mind, or you know what I mean, that those like abilities, So and the areas we lived in, it was rough, and they were like hoods basically in the UK, and you're around the same kind of people. You just think when you're in school, you just think that, oh yeah, they're doing well, but really they're living in the same kind of house as you, and everyone's the same income bracket. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I was like, I'm one of 7, so you can imagine how hard it is to feed 7 kids.
Yeah,
do you know
definitely,
what I mean?
definitely.
But yeah, so like,
and not only just feeding 7 kids, you gotta survive yourself to provide for those kids and whatnot. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, man. Like, my mom, she's had a rough upbringing herself, and my dad wasn't on the picture at this time. He would always work like other cities, other countries, even. And my mom had a drinking problem for years, and that would affect that had an effect on us as kids. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. I can imagine.
So it was crazy, but as time progressed, like you grow up, we develop your own mindsets, and I was always like my mom and dad. They would never let us go out on a Friday night. Yeah, and they were like, "Look, you're only gonna go out with your friends on a Friday to cause mischief." And back then it was just like, oh man, he's so nasty.
They don't know what you're talking about or stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm like, you're so nasty, man. Why you not let me go out with my friends? And then looking back now, it's just like, they're right.
They're shooting you off, yeah.
The only time you would, the only reason you would go out, at 14 or 13 or 15.
At 2 a.m. in the morning or something.
Yeah, if the only reason you'd go out, and basically, I don't know about the culture here, but basically, your friends would come and get you, and you'd go out, and you just basically roam the streets or go somewhere
just hang out, under a bridge or something.
And bro, you're only gonna do mischief. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's where this whole smoking thing started from. It's just like my mom was a smoker, and we used to pinch a couple cigarettes, and we just go to our friends like, yeah, let's try this. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it is all like that. Do you know what I mean? But as time progressed, it was like, my mindset wasn't around. I don't want to say my mom or my dad affected the way I socialized, but it was more of the way I think. It's more like,
but just going through those experiences, it also shaped us in what we want to do for our futures, what we should and shouldn't do, and what we should bring amongst it. Like, everything is in a lesson within itself. Yeah. So if we take our parents, the way our parents raised us up, we can apply it to our future endeavors and stuff. Yeah,
because honestly, I don't know how or what they did, but I feel like, everyone always used to compliment us kids as well-mannered, well-respected, respectable kids, all of that kind of stuff. And we always used to stand out in that sense. And it was like, we always thought, that's how we were brought up, do you know what I mean? So we weren't rough kids or none of that. But, as time progressed, you just start learning more. And, we did some bad things and stuff like that. But, I think when I got to 25 or 26 was when I realized everything you've done till now is you've not really had a clue about, you've just, I'm all for trying new things and taking risks. Do you know what I mean? But it's progress. Everything's about progress. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's not about, making the most money or being this and that. It's just, just be better than you were last year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whatever it means, mentally, physically, financially. Do you know what I mean? All of it. It's just as long as you're making progress in the right direction and having a direction, that's all that matters.
Okay. Then let me ask you this, Shareef. What do you see yourself doing in 5 years?
5 years. Okay, so I'm planned out for the next 2 years. Okay. So basically, I wanna. The goal for this year is saving. Next year is investing. The year after that, saving. So That's like 3 years. But in 5 years, I want to be in a place where I can get more fulfillment out of life because, you know, I've said to myself for a while, we're not made to be workers and stuff like that. You know, even though when we're not working, we get like crazy. Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Because I've always had this urge to build something, you know, or just be working on something.
Yeah, yeah.
But in 5 years from now, ideally, I want to be in a very good physical state. And I don't mean like bodybuilder or none of that. Just like, you're at a good weight. Your fitness levels are good. You know, you've got a good core strength. You've got a good like cardiovascular
And you
capacity.
just have a good habit of essentially.
Yeah. And that's what I want. Like, I've always told myself that I want to be very good with calisthenics. You know, like balancing on your hands and stuff like that. You know, like be able to handle your own weight. Yeah, that's something I'm really like want to be good at by then. And you know, financially just be stable, you know, like be good with a house and, you know, have some kids by then. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. Like, do you know what I mean? What about you? Like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Yeah, like you, I've planned for the next 2 years. Essentially, I'm about to graduate soon. I have like about a semester, maybe a semester and a half left, and I just want to graduate, start working for a clinic, and essentially build up my resume.
For who?
A clinic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a clinic of some sort, preferably somewhere in like the emergency field, and just build up my resume enough to just enter into PA school.
Okay.
And my goal has always been to help others. Like I've always loved helping others, especially children. I want to go into the pediatric field.
Okay.
So if I could fulfill it in like the next 2 years, that would be great. And
I got a hookup at emergency rooms if you need it.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen within 2 years, I'm okay with it. I'm just gonna go with the flow, see where life leads me. In 5 years, essentially the same with you. I want to start investing, saving, potentially save up for a house, and start like opening my boba shop. I've always wanted to have a boba shop, own one, and see where life takes me from there. Like I just want to open a few businesses as well, like a restaurant and like own a gas station, stuff like that.
Well, yeah, that's and I want to stick on this topic because obviously something I enjoy.
Yeah.
What's the boba business like? Is that a good business? I've seen a few places.
I've personally talked to a few boba owners, and they say the payout is like pretty good.
Yeah.
You won't get your payback until like year 3 or 4.
It'll take a minute.
But if you're doing something like a franchise, where you're constantly gonna be assured with like making your payout back, because like those franchises have a reputation early on, and they already have like a fan base.
Yeah, 100.
So you don't have to worry about like losing your investment or anything. At the end of the day, it comes down to area and location and everything as well.
Yeah.
But that's probably the route I'm gonna go. I don't think I'm gonna like start off a whole boba brand from scratch. There's some
It's hard.
It's hard. There's some
bro.
people who made it happen.
Yeah.
Like for example, I know I spoke to owners of what was it? I believe it was Craven's.
Okay.
They started their boba shop from scratch, and they have 2 locations now. And there's one in Katy, one in Bel Air, Houston, and I've been their customer since like the early days, to the point where like every time I walk in, they're like the usual, and I'm like and it's just like at first they thought they weren't gonna succeed either because it was slow. People didn't want to really try a new boba shop in Houston, but they gradually built it up, and they were able to do it too. That's my goal essentially, is just like be able to like.
What kind of restaurant would you have?
Potentially do that. I personally want to open like a Korean barbecue restaurant. As you can tell, I'm Asian, so I'm going for like the Asian like restaurant theme.
Yeah.
But it's just like I personally like. I used to enjoy cooking. I used to like cook for the family and whatnot. I was in like culinary classes for like a few semesters.
Yeah, I got you.
So I was able to learn some skills and whatnot. I wouldn't say I'm a master chef or anything, but you know, it's just I like to explore. I personally like to explore, like do different hobbies, stuff like that. Like back in high school, I had like 20 different hobbies under my belt and stuff. And my resume was just like pages and pages and pages of like just stuff I did.
Extracurricular activities.
Yeah, essentially. And like in college, I didn't have the time to like stick up with a lot of it. But I just chose one or two to stick fully to, like filming, photography, stuff like that, and just master those skills and stuff.
What's the thoughts behind the gas station? You said gas station as well.
So I grew up in like working with my dad when he was doing stuff for his car wash companies and stuff. My dad doesn't own a car wash; he just works for a company. And sometimes there would be clients who needed him to come out and repair his stuff through the company. And sometimes if it was he needed help, he would ask me to come with him. And I would come with him, and I hear all these big men talking about owning a car wash and owning like a gas station and stuff. And essentially I picked up that skill, and I heard the cash flow is pretty good with those fields, as well as just having a connection with the community. But it's rigorous work. It's really rigorous owning like a gas station or like a car wash and stuff like that. And there's a lot of like taxes included with that too. But it's
from
just
the alcohol and
and then cleaning sewage and stuff like that. But I'm like, it's at the end of the day, it's an investment. At the end of the day, it's another source of income. So might as well. I remember a few years ago, I read an article about how the average millionaire has at least 5 jobs, or at least like 5 incomes.
Sources of income.
Yeah. And I don't imagine myself becoming a millionaire. I don't strive for that goal, but it would be nice to have.
You gotta strive for it, man. You can't say that.
But
see, the thing is don't ever doubt yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, one thing I would say is
I'm just saying, like, in a sense where I just do this so I can always have a sense of being productive. Like, I don't have to worry about like not having something to do. Essentially, that's a whole like take I have in this. Like, it's great if I can become a millionaire.
You can.
Yeah.
You can. You just gotta take the right steps. That's it. You can.
If it happens, it happens.
It will
great.
happen. You just take the right steps.
Yeah, it's just essentially I want something to have to do for the future, just in case one plan doesn't work out.
Yeah.
I always have a backup plan, because nothing is assured.
100%. And the other day I was literally walking to get my mail, and I was just thinking to myself, like, man, if I lost everything today, like everything.
Essentially.
If I lost everything, I'll just continue tomorrow and just start again. Do you know what I mean? It's flow. Everything flows.
Yeah,
do you
and
know what I mean?
I've heard some pretty successful people who've lost everything, like not one time, like multiple times, and they just rebuilt it like every single time.
This time, like, I've never been a millionaire, not yet. But I'm on my 3rd try now. You know, like, of failing and having to bounce back, and you know, every time I'm bouncing back, it's just getting bigger and bigger. Because like you learn from the mistakes. You've got more knowledge. You've got more maturity. So it's like, if you're not failing, you're not trying.
Yeah.
You know.
There's an example from locally, actually. There's this owner of this Japanese Spanish fusion restaurant, Jabaneros. I don't know if you've been there before, but he's in Sugarland. From what I've heard from other individuals who know him personally, he failed like 3 times. He filed for bankruptcy for like 2 or 3 times before he found a different route, and he invested everything he had left into Jabaneros, and now it's like really, really successful. Like, and he's making like a lot now too. It's just a mindset where you should expect failure.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be expecting like you're gonna succeed right away all the time. It's just you make mistakes.
The lucky few do.
Yeah,
the lucky few do.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it's like I said, man, it's about taking the right steps. It's like, if you go on,
you don't know like what's gonna happen tomorrow, like you said. Like, for example, like I know a lot of business owners has been affected by this pandemic. Essentially, like one day they were having thousands and thousands of customers coming in, and then until the next day they're having to like quarantine themselves, not being able to run their business, and just losing everything.
Yeah. Yeah, like I like to think of contingencies, but what I've said before is, and I'm sure you've probably heard this before, that if you have a plan B, you're expecting plan A to fail. And it's like, I go with a mentality that, you know, I'm on one route. I don't need a backup. I'm just gonna go forward, you know. So if I fail tomorrow and lose everything, then I'll either start again or try something else, or, you know.
For me, I have a goal. I have the main set goal that I've been striving for years. So that's going into the medical field. And the backup plans are just something that, like, little side missions along the way.
Yeah, side missions. Yeah.
It's not something I prioritize. It's just if I end up not reaching to the ultimate goal, I still have other like sources as well. I guess that's also a segue to like why I had so many hobbies back in high school. I just wanted to try everything and see what I'm good at and what I'm not good at.
I think it's good as well because it's a real struggle to find stuff that you're passionate about. Like that's one thing I struggle with is like, yo, what I really enjoy that's like, I mean, not everything has to be productive, but it's like, what do you really enjoy? You know, where does your heart lie? Because, you know, I've had a few hobbies myself, but it's like, you know, some of them.
I also heard another quote where like someone was like, I rather be good at I rather know multiple things than know one thing very well. Yeah, and I don't know the quote exactly, but it's somewhere along those lines. And
that can be translated the other way as well because you know, it's like you can either be great at one thing or okay at a bunch of things. You know, so it's like that thing that you're great at, you probably charge an arm and a leg for it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I mean, it's both ways, but it's like, again, we go back to it. Everything is free flowing. You know, there's no like, there is no like cut and paste way of doing things. You know, so
essentially,
it's a way you got to figure out what you want and how you want to do it. Do you know what I mean? Because like next year, I plan to acquire another business, one that's running and established. Like, I don't want to go through another startup. It's just hard. It's hard, man.
I can imagine. Like even right now, like me starting up my own like clothing line and stuff. I'm seeing the hardships. I'm like, from the, when you're sitting in the back, you just like, for example, you see like all these like designer brands, or you see all these clothing brands. You're like, wow, there's merch. It's already there. Like it's just. You just pick it up, you buy it, and you're like, maybe I can do this too. And when you actually get into it, you actually learn the steps of like actually doing it. You find out like a really well respect for like the people who do this sort of stuff. Yeah, because it's not easy starting up. It's really not.
It's not.
Yeah,
it takes a lot from you too. And that's the thing. Like, I won't say any names, but last week when I got the new contract, I was with one of my guys, my employees. And he was asking like, oh, how much you charging for this project? And I told him. And he's like, oh, how much you paying? And I told him like, this is what we're paying the employees and this is how much we're charging the client. And he was laughing like, damn, man, like how you making like money on me? And I was just like, hang on a second, do you risk your finance for this? Do you ever get paid late? Do you ever not get paid? Did you spend like 4 or 5 months more than that actually like using money without getting paid? No, you didn't make those sacrifices. So of course I'm gonna charge my client one thing and pay my employees another thing because I've made all these sacrifices. You know, and it's hard, man. It's just like, you know,
and a lot of people don't understand, like, especially coming from like a business owner point of view, if the business fails and the business owner loses everything, the workers will lose everything too.
Not only that, it's like, but the thing is, it's like they can lose their job, but they can go get
find another one.
Tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? It's like, or maybe a couple of days or whatever, but we lose the time, we lose the investments, because everything that's been put in, like you said with the boba shop, will take you 3 years.
Yeah.
But in those 3 years, all your employees want to get paid in that time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you're not going to get paid. You're just sustaining and
You're
running
just
it.
trying to pay off the investments you already put into
You're
it.
just
Like,
trying to
that's
get
what
the
I'm
return.
seeing now. Like, all the equipments I bought just to produce the stickers and stuff, I'm still paying it off.
Exactly.
I'm still paying it
like
off.
You're still in like
Negatives.
You're not profitable yet. You know what I mean?
It's still a negatives before you reach before you can even make
break
profit.
even. Yeah.
And even then, when you you pass the like breaking even point, you're gonna have to invest in more stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And once you invest in more stuff, it's just endless cycle.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, I mean, that's one thing I noticed when I first started. It was like, my first check for the company was like $80, right? And for me, it was like, yeah, it's $80. Like, yeah.
All the fees and stuff come in.
Yeah, not only that, like, all the profit I would make would fund the growth. So it's like, yeah, I was taking bits here and there to keep my pocket line or whatever. But it's not like, you know, I can sit back and I'm just earning with these. Do you know what I mean? It's not. That's not the case. And you know, I think some of my employees think that, you just sit back making all this damn money. It's just like, come on, man. Like, you don't understand how hard it is, especially when you're self-made.
Yeah, and you gotta, even tying it back to this podcast, like, we struggle finding like outreach individuals to work with sometimes. Yeah. And it's like it's really an honor to have all these guests on our shows, because they're taking time out of their day, out of their business, just to come on this show. And it's not easy to find an individual who wants to open up about their experiences either. So essentially, everything takes a sacrifice, whether it's your health, whether it's your mental state, whether it's your business, investment, school, whatever. Everything takes sacrifices, but there is always a payout rate for it.
Yeah, it's like, you got to give up something you want for something you want more. Do you know what I mean? And everything, like, you know, what did they say? What's the word? You know, people come here for the American dream, or, you know, people look for the American dream. This is a land of opportunity, right?
Yeah.
But nothing is free.
Nothing is
free.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's how it goes, man. And, you know, it could cost you financially, it could cost you mentally, like you said, everything, physically, whatever. Yeah, so
what you want to do.
Yeah.
No one's forcing you to do anything. No one's forcing you to be a certain way. Don't ever have that mindset.
It's like, you got to try stuff. Like, honestly, bro, sometimes I think that
you're doing it for yourself at this point. Don't ever do something for another individual.
I would love sometimes like to be able to just go and work for somebody and be able to leave the headache at the door when I'm clocking off. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, you know, that comes with an earning cap as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because how fast my company's grown, and it's just like, I mean, the sacrifices are paid off, you know. I've worked damn hard to get to where I'm at.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, man, it's been nuts. But it's at a point, like, you know, how we're talking about, like, even this podcast, you know, when we release it, it'll be like, what I call tumbleweeds, you know, nothing going on. But eventually, when the momentum, like, once you start doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, like, it'll start compounding, like, more people seeing it, more people coming on, more people talking. That's where the company's at now. It's like, you know, I've gone through the establishing stage now where, you know, my client calls me, hey, I got another place, can you cover it?
And people gotta realize, no one ever really, like, becomes successful overnight. Yeah. There's, like, those
they do,
rare,
but it takes
rare
10 years.
chances.
It takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It takes, like, like we said, anything, the most investment you will ever do is time.
Yeah.
Because
time
doesn't wait for you. You wait for it.
Yeah.
And
you can't get that back.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of how much time you're willing to invest in it. Yeah. Because the payout rate it can be great, it can't be not so great, but you won't know until you try it. And at the end of the day is if you're willing to put in enough effort to try it or not. And that goes for, like, physical health and mental health as well. Yeah. You can only get better from there. You can't go once you reach the lowest point, you literally can't go any lower than that. It's only up from there.
Literally. And I mean, hopefully we can you know, secure some nice guests in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And let's tell the viewers a little bit about what's the plans for your place next door in terms of like, my bad, what our goals are. So essentially, we want to be a median, a kind of a platform to grab two people's hands and be able to put them like a connector
or a segue, just for them to like escape reality for a second.
Yeah. Well, that's the podcast. First of all, I'm like, this is the entertainment side where you can switch off and just having a regular conversation, regular life, all that stuff. I'm talking about like the therapy side of things, like the formal side of things. Like
Essentially, like our goals is just to like be able to provide resources for like young individuals, college students, high school students, middle school students, and just let y'all know like you guys have a place like to go to, like your place next door, essentially.
Yeah. So what our goals are is to basically be able to provide a zero to low cost for mental health support,
whether it's therapy, mentorship, and just feel free to reach out to us if you ever need anything, or you just want like to talk about like experiences and stuff, and we can either find someone for you to like talk to, or we ourselves can tell you our personal experiences.
Yeah, like all our information will be linked below. Like you're probably aware that we're just some regular guys, man. We're just trying to make a little bit of change in the world.
Definitely,
just offer a hand.
We experienced stuff ourselves. By no means are we like wise or like credible for a lot of this stuff, but it's just we just want you to have a sense of like, hey, if someone like just as normal as these guys can do it, maybe so can I.
Yeah, because mental health is hard to talk about. Last night, actually, another one of my employees, their mom has texted my manager like, hey, she's going through a hard time with depression right now. And, she keeps telling me that she just needs to come to work. But I want her to go get checked in somewhere and just go see somebody. And I was like, damn, man, like, if she had reached out, I could have advised her, like, not saying that I'm the know-all be-all or whatever. I'm just saying it's just like, I want them to be able to open up about it.
Yeah,
and it's and it is like a tough place because it's like, okay, they probably trust their family with that more. But it's like, even in the work environment,
everyone essentially cares for you. There's always someone who cares for you.
Yeah, there is, but not like. Sometimes you think that they don't because when you're in a place of mental illness, right, you want somebody to know but you don't want to tell them, and it's just like you get mad at them. It's like, why can't you see I'm not well? Do you know what I mean? And it's like it's a real tough place to be in.
And there's also a stigma, like people are like have the mentality where they feel like they have to solve everything by themselves. But it's okay for you to reach out for help. It's okay for you to ask. And it's essentially, if we haven't asked our questions, if we hadn't asked someone how to do a certain thing, we wouldn't get where we are today. If we hadn't asked how to start off a business or how to do, like, if we hadn't found someone to direct us, we can learn ourselves. It'll take longer, but sometimes it's just we just need the helping hand, and sometimes it's great to be an individual to give that helping hand too. It's just a symbiotic relationship.
100%.
Mental health is not a sign of weakness. No one should ever think that.
It is a part of life. It's just a case of
us being human. Like, we have emotions, we have feelings, we'll feel stressed, we'll feel sad at times, but like I said earlier, once you reach your lowest part of life, it's only up from there. You won't always be there. There's ways to get out of certain situations. There's a way to just change your life around, balance. Do you know what I mean? Balance is key.
So I think we'll wrap it up there. We're coming close to over an hour now. So thank you guys for tuning in, watching. I'm Shareef, that's Jeffrey. All our socials, all of that good stuff will be in the description below. The website will be in the description below. The Your Place Next Door Instagram. We'll have podcast clips on there. We'll also have, a few pointers for a few things that's going on. Any events, updates, all of that stuff will be on the Instagram. What you'll see from us here would be, just the podcast with the guests, and a few things here and there, but majority podcasts. So you want to add anything?
Yeah, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let us know how we did. Let us know how you guys like.
Don't feel free. You got to do that. There's no option. If you're here, it's a must. It's just like you can't do it.
Yeah.
So it's free. It's free. Do it.
Yeah. So just essentially let us know how we did, what you guys want to see, how's our setup. Let us know if you guys want to see any changes, any certain guests. We'll try to get them onto the show as well. But yeah, as of now, this is Your Place Next Door. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.